In this tutorial, we're going to be folding an open square twist, which is one of the most common twists used in square grid origami tessellations. We'll be using a 8-fold square grid, so 8 divisions top to bottom and left to right. And this tutorial is part of my Summer of Twists series, which means that there will be a recommended longer tutorial for using this twist in a repeating pattern context at the end of the video. It also means that you can get email reminders for the whole series of 30 twists if you sign up at training.gatheringfolds.com/summer. So I've got my bone folder, my 2 colored pens here. I'm going to use my red pen for mountain folds and blue for valleys. And the first thing I'm going to do is outline one of these 4 grid squares that's right next to the center of my paper. Then I'm going to extend the edges of the square out, and notice I'm doing the top edge going to the right, the left edge going up, the bottom edge to the left, and the right edge down. I'm going to go ahead and extend these lines all the way out to the edge of the paper. And then I'm going to take my blue pen for the valley folds and come 1 spacing away from the center square and mark a fold parallel to my initial mountain. I'm going to do this on all 4 of these fold directions. This is defining the mountain and valley fold of each pleat that is leaving the twist. Once this setup is in place, I'm going to emphasize the red lines as mountain folds and the blue lines as valley folds. Notice the center square is starting to twist around. And it can be helpful to go around one by one, getting these pleats in place. Now you'll notice that things are pretty puffy and the paper is kind of fighting me a little on how to do this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold steady and use some free fingers to push down in the center. So now it doesn't want to spring open anymore, and I can emphasize those folds a little bit more, use my bone folder to get them nice and smooth. Now my paper doesn't want to come apart at all. But notice that those red lines that were drawn into the center are no longer folds in the final flat state. Instead, we have mountain folds on these diagonal lines that are crossing 2 grid squares. And so these central lines are not folds that are in the final folded state. They're just used for reference as we're setting up the twist. So this kind of tipped over square is what the twist looks like in the crease pattern, a drawing of where all the folds will be once the pattern is folded. So notice that at these corners of the twist, we need to project the mountain folds in, and the characteristic shape that we want to see here is this kind of shuriken looking little wings on a square, or windmill looking, and then we can flatten from the middle to get our twist. On the back side, we're going to see an open hole, 1 grid spacing on each side. The same as the square that we outlined in the center, by the way. And on the back side, the crease pattern is going to look a little bit different. We're going to have valley folds coming directly into the corners. And then the mountain folds will come parallel to those valleys. So this is what the crease pattern for an open square twist looks like on both the front, where you'll fold the twist, and the back of the paper. The important things to keep in mind here are exactly where your pleats are headed. So if I have 2 pleats already in place, if I set up the other 2 coming to one point, that's going to get me the closed square instead of the open square. I need to have that separation of 1 grid spacing between the mountain folds in both directions. So that's all for the open square twist. If you'd like to learn more about this twist, check out the longer tutorial that I already have available. And I also teach this twist inside of my Basic Twist Bootcamp and Tessellation Starter Sequence course, which you can find links for in the description. So happy folding, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.